Tahiwi. Is that right? Tahiwi. Yeah, okay.
And she is online. We just can't see her.
Great.
Video is on.
Okay. And the person standing in for Rob is...
Okay, you're streaming now.
Okay. Hmm? All right, welcome everybody. We're going to get underway. Welcome to members of the public and applicants. Thank you for coming. We'll be with you in just a moment. I think everybody's here, so we can get formally started for the Creative Communities New Zealand meeting and the Grants Allocation Committee. I'm going to begin by asking one of our committee members, Tama, to read the council blessing.
Kia ora. As we deliberate on the issues before us, we trust that we will reflect positively on the communities we serve. Let us all seek to be effective and just so that with courage, vision and energy, we provide positive leadership in a spirit of harmony and compassion.
Thank you, Tama. I now invite any apologies that are known. Anybody? We have an apology from Rob Cofford, Councillor Cofford, is that correct? Correct. And in his place, we are welcoming Councillor Glenn Hooper. I got that right? Yes. Welcome, Glenn. Are there any other apologies? No? Well, I therefore move that the apology be accepted. Those in favour?
We need a seconder.
You need a seconder? Who's going to second that? Seconded by Michelle Scullion. Thank you, Michelle. So, those in favour? Apologies, that is carried. Thank you. We now come to any members who feel they have to declare an interest in any of the applications. And I shall kick the ball rolling by declaring that I have an interest in the application from the Ahu Charitable Trust, Amy Portners. It is a perceived conflict of interest for me on a personal level. So, Nigel, I think you're a deputy chair. You'll need to take the meeting when that presentation is made. And I'll also withdraw from the room when you're discussing specifically that application. Are there any other conflicts of interest? Michelle?
I was shocked and surprised when I read the application that my name was attached to the, thank you, for the Jan Bolwell Handstand Productions. So I need to remove myself. May I ask a question, please? Do I leave the room or do I just sit back?
I think they're on the
Thank you.
You can just sit back from the table.
I'd like to sit back.
You can choose.
I'd like to sit back. Am I allowed to offer something? No, I'm not.
No.
Thank
No,
you.
you don't.
I know something that I would like to offer, but okay. I stand back.
You don't participate in the discussion, and I guess under the rules, listening is not participating.
Thank you.
But I choose to leave the room, but that's a matter of my choice. Are there any, so I should really move or ask someone to move it, those declarations of, do I need to do that?
I have a declaration of interest.
Kim, yes, welcome to you.
Kia ora, Te Korowai Manaki Charitable Trust, Pip Devonshire is a whanaunga of mine. So I have a personal connection with the person presenting, not so much with the trust itself.
All right. So you've already left the room, so I imagine
Yes.
we'll just step out of the discussion.
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much. So those three declarations of interest there. Right, thank you for those. So we now come to 1:45, just a bit early, so we are expecting our first presentation, and that is from Dr. Angela Robertson. Dr. Robertson, are you in the room? You are. Come and join us, please. I know you've been an applicant before.
Yes, that's right.
What do we call you? Dr. Robinson? Do we call you Angela? What do we call you?
Angela's fine.
Angela's fine?
Yeah, yes.
Thank you for coming. And I kind of want to apologise. It's such a formal setting. It's not deliberately we're trying to make people feel nervous. These people are all very nice. They don't bite.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, there is Nigel, but never mind. So please relax and talk to us about your application.
Okay, thank you very much, and morena everyone. I'm a local person. I've been here for 30 years on the Kapiti Coast. The development of adults has been my career all my life, basically as an adult. And in semi-retirement, I've been running quite a few community projects. The one that I've come here to speak about today is the Write Your Story workshops, which is encouraging people within the community of all ages, but mainly the people that attend are over 60, but not always, to document their stories for themselves in the first instance, for their families, but also for the wider community. So I've been running a series of workshops in Horowhenua in earlier times, but more recently on the Kapiti Coast, a series of 5 weekly community workshops to help them get started on their story, find their authentic voice, write as who they are, and build momentum over a period of weeks. And this has been very successful. I've tried to keep the cost as low as possible, so I'm actually subsidising these community workshops. And anyway, they've been quite successful. And one of the questions I was asked with the last round of funding is, why aren't I publishing them? But not everybody wants to go down this track. Not everybody wants to go out there and actually spread the word more broadly. But having said that, there's been a topic that's come up again and again, which has been about the royal family. This is before the Queen died. And many people on the Kapiti Coast remember the King dying, her father, the Queen getting married, and also before she became the Queen, and also the coronation and the royal tour in New Zealand. And because the topic came up again and again, I started to say, would you think that it'd be worthwhile to put a collection of these stories together for the community, for themselves in the first instance, but also for the library, just to document, where they were on the day of the coronation, what they were doing. And for those that actually saw the Queen on the royal tour, where were they in New Zealand? So although not all of those people were on the Kapiti Coast at that time in their memory, some of them were in the UK or Singapore or somewhere else in New Zealand, many of those people are living on the Kapiti Coast right now. So the funding round that I've gone for is to offer the workshops again next year. A series of 5 community workshops 3 times over the year, and also to publish a collection of stories about the royal family.
So the reason you're doing this work is for the benefit of the participants to actually be able to tell their story.
It is, yeah, it is. So, it is.
So
I feel quite strongly about it because I think it's a living legacy.
Yes. Okay. Has anybody any questions for Angela from the committee?
May I ask some questions? I think I really
1 minute.
I really do. And even though oh God, I forget, don't I? Sorry, my fault. Apologise. My name's Michelle. Even though I'm a pure Celt, 3rd generation New Zealander,
Yes.
the royal family means nothing to me.
Yes.
But I'm a royalist.
Yes.
I respect what they do, and I think your idea is really, really good. If you weren't funded the full $2,995,
Yeah.
and you had a bit less, would that still be okay?
Yes, it would, because I'll do it anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
Good
it would
idea.
just be nice to get some support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
And also because these people, they give you their story, I can't ask them to contribute over and above what
No.
I don't feel as if I can when they're older people.
No.
Yeah.
But the other question I also have is, one of the things I think you said is you're aware that you're the age that tends to do it is 60 plus, but you'd like younger people to maybe. So
Yeah.
how could you do that? How could you bring in younger people? Because I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. That sometimes I do get younger people, but one is what the availability is during, to run them in the evening, and so that becomes a problem for the older people then, obviously, and there needs to be enough to be able to cover the costs of the room hire and things like that. So I run one of the series of 5 sessions on a Saturday, but that doesn't always suit everybody either. So it really depends on catching the people at the right time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Has anybody got any further questions of Angela?
I've just got one.
Yes.
I think capturing the oral history is essential, and it's a wonderful project. Bearing in mind that a lot of your participants will be extremely elderly,
Yeah.
if that is even a thing, instead of just being elderly. And whilst you've got the captive audience on this topic, are you looking at opening up to other historical events that they may be talking about that would otherwise be lost as part of that workshop and process, or is it specifically focusing on
No,
the Crown?
the workshops, the topics are their own, so I don't give them a topic. I mean, I suggest some topics, but when people are capturing their stories, each of the people in the workshop are capturing their own. So some are writing family histories, some are writing about a business story or a travel adventure, or when they were training to be a nurse or whatever. They're not all writing the same story, but a topic that came up again and again was a memory of the royal family. It's not the only topic that repeats itself, so I don't set the topics. I have tried that, but it doesn't work for everybody. If you're doing a family history, what happens with the royal family may not have been that important. So the family history one was just a topic that came up more than once, frequently.
Okay, and one last question: is it do you record? Is it recorded or on audio? Is it all written?
They're written, and for some of these people, they haven't got computers, so they're handwritten in notebooks, and so I type those up for them, give them it back, and if they've got a photo, we add that. But with the royal family one, what came out was all these scrapbooks. People years ago, before my time, they kept scrapbooks on things in the old way. So there was all the newspaper cuttings about the Prime Minister of the day, Mr. Holland said, duh, 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 and you get all this, or the Queen. Here she is with her wedding presents, a sewing machine and a hot point washing machine, So, but they're little gems because there isn't really the intellectual property around that because they've already been cut out, they've already been paid for, and they're all yellowed. But that's what I like about this project. It's so authentic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any further questions for Angela? Well, I'm reading your application. You actually put some of your own money in as well as your time. Presumably that funds your cash flow to get the things rolling. So we can certainly see this is something you're passionate about. So thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Good.
I really appreciate it. Okay.
Now, the next person to present is Ms. Sarah Ewell. Is Sarah here?
Wonderful. Hello.
Thank you for joining us, Sarah. Where do you
That's
go?
all right. So I feel like a lot of the specifics are probably covered in the proposal. So I'd kind of like just to go through why, what my intention is with these classes. So I really want to run writing classes that are accessible to all levels in a really safe, warm, welcoming environment. I will be looking at teaching writing skills, but the focus is on the creative process rather than like producing a polished, perfect, highly edited piece. I have a strong belief in the power of creativity to process emotions and experiences. There's an inherent therapeutic nature to creativity. However, the focus of this is on the creative process. But I just know from personal experience and also running Te Ara Korowai, there's a benefit to individuals and to the wider community when well-being is addressed through creativity, and also when people are connected. And I think these classes also offer an opportunity for people to be connected. I'm also looking at fostering connection between the participants and the natural world. I believe that the right environment can really enhance creativity. I have a lot of my own experience as a writer in terms of writing in nature, and I'm very interested in environments that have lower levels of human interference in terms of sound and activity. And I know from my own experience that, they can be very productive environments. I'm just looking at offering something different and unique. I have a lot of experience running creative writing classes in very traditional classroom settings, which, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but I feel like this is it's something different, it's something fresh and kind of unique, and I expect that it will offer a lot of value to the people who participate. So, that's it.
Thank you. I see you're looking for 20 participants, is that right?
Yeah.
How do you find them? How do you recruit them?
Well, having a lot of experience with Te Ara Korowai in terms of advertising classes, a lot of it is social media these days. A lot of it is Facebook, and yeah. So I think that's probably. I mean, traditional advertising as well in terms of like posters and newspapers and. But yeah, I mean, I've never had a problem getting participants before, and obviously this is my second run as an individual with the Creative Community Scheme. So, yeah.
Okay. Questions? Anybody else? Kim, are you with us? Do you want to ask a question? Just jump in if you do.
Well, Kim's reading herself. Yeah, I think you'll probably be oversubscribed. So is there capacity to expand if you get more?
Into more people. I think some of these creative classes it can affect dynamics and the environment when there are too, especially if you're looking at going into parks or utilising spaces like that. You want people to be comfortable and be able to like sit at tables and stuff like that. So, but I mean, this is kind of, you know, if this takes off and is really successful, it's definitely something I would like to offer again. And I know, yeah, like in the past we've had wait lists for classes so that we've run like, yeah, successive kind of blocks. Yeah. Yep.
Sarah, the committee's got a certain amount of money. It's not enough to meet all the applicants' requests, as you can understand. If you don't succeed in securing the $1,038 that you've asked for, what happens? Do you trim the size of the group, or how do you manage that?
I would look at probably asking a class fee, which, I mean, I could do this without applying for a grant and just charge a fee to cover, but I'm all about reducing barriers to attendance in terms of cost, which at the moment for a lot of people, you know, is difficult. So, yeah, if I didn't get the full amount, I would look at, you know, a modest class fee to cover the rest of the costs.
But your intention is to make it available perhaps to people who have the least ability.
Yeah,
to pay.
absolutely.
Just reading through how you've described it.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess, you know, my background is obviously not-for-profits and charities, and I feel quite strongly about people having access to the arts and creativity, and cost these days is can be a big barrier.
I understand. Any more questions from the floor? Michelle?
Yeah.
Congratulations. It's really good what you're up to.
Thank you.
I read it quite thoroughly, but I've forgotten everything. I've just been in the South Island for 10 days doing
Okay.
other stuff.
Yeah.
Where exactly are you proposing to walk people before you get them to sit and write? And are you doing the writing outside as well as inside?
Yes, there will be. So what I've proposed is that we use Te Arokorowai as a base and for a wet weather option. But then otherwise it would be parks, Whareroa, Kaitawa Reserve. Like we have really good access in Kapiti to a lot of natural environments that don't require great levels of hiking ability to get to. So yeah, my intention is that weather permitting, we will travel somewhere in a natural environment and then go through the exercises, and we can still do them indoors, and that's fine. But yeah, I'm just trying to introduce something a bit kind of unique. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Other questions, anybody?
Yeah, me, please.
Yes, Tom.
Kia ora. Just on what you were saying about kind of trying to reduce barriers for people, if you had a surplus of people who wanted to participate, would you look at kind of selecting specific people who might not be able to afford to do it, for example? Like looking at different demographics who maybe would find it harder to connect with groups like this, or is it just kind of like a first come, first served type of deal?
Yeah, I think it can get really difficult if you try to select people based upon their merits, because that also requires a level of disclosure when people apply. So yeah, I think I'd be more inclined to go with like a wait list. I feel like there's benefit, you know, to this for everyone, regardless of like their background. So yeah, I think for me, it would sit more comfortably if it was like, you know, we just ran successive, you know, block courses of it. Yeah.
Cool, great.
Yeah.
Yummy.
All right. Thank you very much, Sarah. Thanks for coming
Thank you. Cheers.
Our next applicant to present is joining us via the technology. Is she there? Do we know that we have her? Shona, join us? Sorry, say again?
We'll just wait for them to join
Right.
now.
It's coming through. This is Shona, it should be. Shona, join us? Hopefully. Juanis? Juanis. I better get that right because she's an announcer on concert radio, isn't she? So her diction and articulation will be good. Better than mine. You might have some questions for this Shakespeare in the Park, Tana, having just come back from the Globe Theatre.
They just have to do something on their side.
All right.
Oh, they're in now.
Yes, she is. Shona, can you hear us? I wonder if anybody says no when they ask that question.
I don't think she's joined.
Shona, we can see you. Couldn't you hear us? She's speaking. Could you indicate that she might have a mute button on?
I don't think she's joined with any audio.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I wondered about
Dennis
that.
is here. So if we could,
Should we jump to the next one?
if we could go with Dennis, he's
Okay.
already here.
All right.
And we'll try and sort.
All right.
Shona
If Shona comes online, can you tell her, just pause for a few minutes and we'll go with the next applicant and then come back to her. So we invite Dennis to the microphone. Dennis, are you there? Yep. Dennis Wood, the Shed Project. Do you need a third chair? It looks like you do.
I'm
standing.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, we have enough chairs, as you may have noticed.
Thanks for the opportunity to come and speak today. Two of our attendees and our artists have wanted to come and have a word, so I thought that's probably quite a good opportunity for them to express how they feel about the work that they do in creativity. The basis of this application is for our annual show that we do, express to our annual performance that we do, a Christmas performance for all of the artistic programs that we do. So we have a show over in Coast Community Church where our performing band Sound Minds, which is a new band which is mental health, who write their own music. We have a dance performance. We do a bit of an art show with exhibit some of the gallery. And so we have dance performances. So we have quite a number of our exposing our the creativity publicly to our people, that they what the value of it is to them. We're currently working with 260 people in the community in various forms of art and creativity. So I would like to introduce Emma. She's got something she'd like to say about the value of what the work that we do and the value of the importance of performing to her.
Can you reach the microphone, Emma?
There you go, Emma.
I'll just sit on your seat then. So our end of year production is like a project. We take a whole year of hard work from some of our talented artists, and it's all about celebrating creative being, involvement, and showing how great it's to be different. It's not just your regular end of year show. It's artists have been practicing their skills in things like dancing, making music, and acting in plays. And now we're going to put on a show that's going to make everyone smile. We want everyone to feel like they're a part of this special moment, no matter where they are from and who they are. At the Shed Project Otaki and Paraparaumu, we really believe that everyone should get a chance to create, and that's what this project's all about. Our motto is art for all.
Great.
And we want to share all the cool stuff our artists can do with our whole community. The most important thing about the project is the amazing people who are a part of it. Some of us might have different challenges, like with our health or where they come from, but we are the real stars here, and we want to make sure they feel strong, important in our community. The artists come from all sorts of backgrounds, and they bring their own special talents and ideas to the show. They been practicing dancing, playing music, and acting in plays all year long, and now they're getting to show everyone what they can do. With our production, we want to give our artists a stage where they can shine and bright. We have amazing tutors and support workers who are working really hard to make this show incredible. We want to surprise and amaze all of you and make you want to be a part of it, part of the art too, and wherever you like. Thanks. Thank you for the support.
Do you want to say
Good.
something, Jack?
You might on the actual seat. There. Oh, God. It's good musical chairs today.
Yeah. So at the Shed Project, we do music with Susanna, which we all love, and we do dance with Samara. And we do drama with Anna, which we would love to end of year show, because it's the Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
You all right, mate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, what
We'll
was
give you your chair.
That's all.
what was your first name again?
Jack.
Jack. Thank you, Jack. You
you
brought
sort
a
of
couple
see
of
that-
strong advocates along with you today.
Yeah, we sort of see the value of the work and the importance to our people in the creative arts, and that's what the end of the year show is about, is giving them the opportunity to show their talents and their skills to the wider public.
Has anybody got any questions of Dennis?
Yeah, actually. Oh,
Palmer.
thank you. Kia ora koutou. Yeah, what a great kaupapa. That's so cool. I just wanted to get a little bit of clarification. You talked about venue hire, including sounds and lights, but there wasn't any details in the that I saw in the application about where the venue was and what deal you have. So I was just wondering if you could just clarify.
Yeah, it's I think it says Hinemoa Street in there, 57 Hinemoa Street,
Oh,
Coast
am I?
Community Church.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Michelle, did you have a question?
Well done, you guys. I'm so jealous. I want to be part of your show. I think it sounds amazing. As an artist myself, I'm a performing artist. Do you write the show yourselves, or do you collaborate? How does the actual event get created?
We have largely our tutors write the show.
Got it.
They have a lot of input into it.
I know one of them. She's fantastic. I know Samara.
Yeah.
Danced with her.
The dance
She's
tutor.
amazing.
Yeah.
We're now starting
Yeah.
to look at the songs for the Christmas show.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And who are you choosing them, or is the music person choosing?
We're putting ideas
Great.
and
Yeah.
things into it, but Samara's kind of going to choose them for us.
The Sound Minds Band, which is a new, you might have seen some publicity on it. It's a group of mental health young men, well, not young men, not so much young men, but a mixed group of men who are performing and writing. They're already musicians, so they already have a talent, but they are writing their own compositions and writing their own lyrics to tell their stories. They're quite phenomenal stories what these guys are telling. And that to me is probably one of the most values of in our music situation, that this group actually writes and tells its own stories. That we work under Susanna Turney. She's a tutor who tutors that. She has a master's degree in music education. So they've currently written 6 of their original, their own original songs. So another 2, and then they're going to do a CD to produce it. Yeah.
And I have another question. I think I'm still on. Is that if that's okay?
Yeah, please do.
So you were talking about wanting people to come. This is a classic. You've got to go to television and get some of those journos down here before your show, because this is just such a good news story.
Yeah, I think
I
you
think
particularly.
you need to do it.
Yeah, the Sound Minds band is probably, and there will be a lot of profile coming out on that, because the exceptional of these guys with mental health issues, telling their stories is just something else that people need to hear these stories.
We need to see all of you, because the power of television these days is huge. And I'm sick of politicians. Sorry. I will vote, but would just be such a nice thing to see you people on television telling what you're about to, and then we will all come and watch you.
We did get on TV for the Anzac.
Yeah, they were on 7
Right.
Sharp and for Anzac, which was quite a good. The guys telling the value of what they were doing for the Poppy Fund and for the RSA. Yeah.
Dennis, you work hard. I looked at the figures you've sent through. Total income of 267,000, and after all that work, just 17,000 left. It's a big organisation, and you do a lot of work.
It is. We do. We work quite hard. Particularly now with OTAC. As I say, we're working with. Or last week it was. I think it's been a few more since. We're working with 267 attendees.
Yes, and your participant numbers here are only 20. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's an underestimation, actually.
Yeah.
I think that I was just doing a quick summary on that because I didn't do this application, and I think that's probably
on the light side.
Oh, very much. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are there any more questions? Kim, are you still with us? Do you wish to ask a question? Are you okay? We have one committee member online, you see. Is she here?
I have no questions, but yes, I think the kaupapa is awesome.
Right.
And it's great to see, and I'm hoping we can support you in any way we can.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Right.
Emma, Jack, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Have we got Shona online? We should go back to her if we have. Let's see if we can ask Shona to join us.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Shona, we have your voice.
Sorry, I did that. I was on an app on my phone and realised that there was a problem with the microphone, but I've switched computers. So I'm back. Hello.
Hello. We can't see you, but we can hear you. So
you can't hear me. You can't see me.
we know you're a seasoned applicant. So where you go?
Here we go. Can you see me now?
Yep. Yes, we can.
So I applied in the last round, and gave me half the funding I applied for, and said that I should be able to get the Memorial Hall for free. So I went down that avenue, and I've done my best to get the Memorial Hall for free. And unfortunately, that isn't the case. And so that cost of $1,000 that you thought would be able to be subsidised by the council isn't actually able to be subsidised. So I thought I'd just come back and let you know that under those circumstances, I couldn't go ahead with my project. So I have refunded the entire amount that you did give me in the last round because I couldn't proceed with that amount of funding. But I was thinking of completely giving up and not doing it at all. And then I thought, well, I might just give it one more crack because it is something that I think could be amazing. I've also looked into, since that time, potentially it being part of the Fringe and bringing the Fringe to Kapiti, the Wellington Fringe, which we did back in, I think it was 2009. We had an extension of the Fringe up here, which was really successful. I think that there could be potential, particularly seeing as now Wellington is not doing a summer Shakespeare. Palmerston North is apparently going to go for their summer Shakespeare, but they're going to try and do it for less. They were looking for $60,000 to put on their summer Shakespeare. So my request is I think really quite reasonable when you bring all of those things into consideration. I also would like to point out that Creative New Zealand has just announced that they've increased the minimum pay wage for artists to $30 an hour, because it was before $25 an hour, and there's increased awareness throughout New Zealand that artists are amongst our lowest paid people, and yet what we provide for the community and for everybody in terms of keeping society together is enormous and undervalued. I think we all valued us very much during COVID, and when in times of strife we are always called upon, and yet undervalued most of the other time. So I'm back. I'm saying, if you want this to happen, please fund me. If you don't want it to happen, then I won't do it.
Understood. And they may have increased the payment to artists. I hope they increased the amount of money they make available for distribution to artists, because and I read somewhere recently that the purpose of art is to comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. I guess you'd go along with that. Can I just ask about the Memorial Hall first? Is that your wet weather venue, basically?
It's the wet weather venue, but it's also where I'm going to be holding rehearsals because we need to have an indoor space for rehearsals and also it will provide the green room. So we'll be performing out in Campbell Park, but there needs to be a place where everybody can go in and be when they're not on stage, and where we have all the gear, and at the end of the performance we can pack all the gear in and pack all the gear back out again. So it's acting as a green room, but also with the capability that if it rained we would just push everything and rejuggle and make sure the show still went on ahead but inside.
And what's the difference between your audience size outside and the capacity of inside? Is there a big difference there?
I think there would be a big difference. I think the Memorial Hall is 100 and I wouldn't want, when we did the Tempest at the Memorial Hall, we had 100 people in the hall per performance, and that I think that's particularly if we were bringing, because we wouldn't be able to just fit all up on the stage, which was what happened with the Tempest. We had the stage, which was part of the set, but we also had part of the hall, which was part of the set as well, to give it that kind of outdoor feel. But I think you would definitely get more people if it was outside than inside. Less people would turn up if it was raining, because there's something about the cachet of going to a Shakespeare outside that if it's raining, people would, that same cachet isn't there.
Okay, questions for Shona from anybody?
Yeah.
Tama.
Kia ora, Shona. It's Tama here. I just was wondering if you could just clarify a few details on the actual production, just because you've said that $2,900 would go to, like in total, would go to lighting and a lighting director, and you're also looking at getting a sound system. But I was just wondering, what kind of lighting would you have if it was outside, or is that just for the inside venue?
That's the outside venue, and it would be transferable from the outside inside if it was raining. That lighting quote is from Grouse, and so I gave them the base logistics of what I wanted to try and achieve outside, and that was the quote that came back in. It is more than the last quote that I put in the last funding round. When I originally went to them, they gave me two quotes. One was for what I actually needed, and I said, well, give me one that is the absolute base minimum, which is what I applied last round, because last round I put everything as a complete, this is the base minimum that we could do this for. And, even at that point, in putting in that, I was thinking, and I could then go out and I could borrow lights from here, and I could borrow lights from there, and I could borrow lights from this other place. And then I thought, well, that's another 10 hours of my time. So I'm going to actually put in the quote for how much the lighting is going to cost if we want to do this.
Cool.
Shona, you've got in the application, you've still got 2,400 at risk. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yes, so that I'm hoping is going to come in with box office.
Right. And so I'm sorry to persist on the size of the audience thing, but if you do get, I don't know, 2,000 people buying tickets because you're pre-selling tickets, and then you have to go inside with a much reduced capacity, would you refund that ticket money?
I wouldn't be selling 2,000 tickets. I'm sorry. If I was putting on an event with 2,000 people, this is not going to be the budget for that.
No.
That would be a budget of around 60,000.
Right.
So we're looking at in the hundreds of tickets. And if there will be pre-sales, but for a lot of outdoors events, it is people buy tickets for those on the day, and if I think we would probably have a number of online sales. So say the amount that we can fit into the Memorial Hall.
Yeah.
And then we'd have on the day ticket sales. And then that also is an incentive for people to get pre-sales, because the people with the pre-sales will get the best seats.
Yes.
The people who show up on the day are the people who don't get the best seats. And if it rains, the people who get the tickets are the people who get to come to the weather venue and still see the show.
Right. Understood. Okay. Any further questions of Michelle?
Hey, Shona, Michelle here.
Hi, Michelle.
You know I love this. Very thorough application as usual. The security, I applaud, but you've only got 2 nights, whereas you're outside doing tech dress, etc. Would you? I just don't quite know if you needed more security. That's just a straight out question to you.
So the presumption, I suppose, was that we would pack in to the Memorial Hall
Tuesday
and on the Thursday. And again, that security figure, that's based on probably me staying the night at
I
the
know,
hall.
but I know, but that's not your job, and security.
Because if I was going to hire in security, we all know that it's not going to be $200, is it? It's going
Well,
to be more like
right.
$2,000.
That's right. But that's not my point. I think that was a bit light. That's what I'm saying. Because I think these.
Yeah.
I'm just straight out criticising that part of your application. I think you as director's fabulous. Sally Stopforth, fantastic. Musical director ? Do you have your musical director yet? And it's not me.
I'm talking to someone in the village who's a young
Excellent
person in their 20s who I'm really hoping will come on board, because that's the kaupapa of this production, is looking at people in that age bracket who are amazing musicians, actors, artists, and just like are floundering a little bit. And I can see a lot of those people in our community. So I'd really hope that I'd be able to bring him on board, and I would hope that I'd be able to pay him competitively, because that's also,
I thought your figures were great, to be honest. I thought they were.
It's not very competitive, I know.
The other question I do have,
it just gives them the thing that actually you can be paid to do a job like this.
That's right.
Even if it's less than everybody else.
No, I mean unacceptable, and Mark Amory's.
One more question, Michelle.
Yes. Sorry, I was on a train. I've lost it. I'm sorry.
The security. So
no,
yes,
it was beyond
I
that.
probably do need 3 nights of security.
Yes,
You're right.
do. Thank you. It was something else, but I've lost it.
Okay. Any more questions? No. Thank you. Thank you, Shona, for joining us.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Bye now.
Oh, and by the way, I want to go to the people before. I want to go to their show. Thank you.
Okay. Bye for now. All right. We're running just a wee bit late, people. I apologise for that, but we are trying to give everybody a good hearing. Is Pip here? Did we have someone with a conflict of interest on Pip? I can't remember now exactly. Kim. Kim has a conflict of interest on Pip, right?
That was me.
Welcome, Pip.
Okay.
Yes. Welcome. Thank you for
Jay.
coming in.
Thanks.
Let's hear from you what you have to say.
I work for Te Korowai Manaaki Charitable Trust, and we're delivering Whakaaro Whakairo Art Symposium, Otaki 2023 at the Otaki Māori Racing Club. It coincides with the first weekends of the Kapiti Arts Trail, runs throughout the week, and then obviously ends with the Kapiti Arts Trail. We're inviting artists that stone carve, wood carve, and weavers. We have a couple of clay artists and might have a painter and tāmoko artist. They're highly practiced, I suppose, is a way that they could be described, mainly from the Kapiti Coast and some out-of-towners. We wanted to run a tamariki rangatahi program across the week that incorporates a couple of the whānau groups from Te Kaupapa Māori o Te Rito. Te Arahi Paupai is a rangatahi group, I think they're based in Wellington. Te Hunga Rangatahi are a group that are based in Otaki. And Whakatupuranga Ruamano are one of the kura in Otaki. So we've got groups coming from those spaces. So the funding application was for tutors. We've got one tutor so far confirmed, and that's Ronald Petley. He comes from the South Island. I'm guessing Nelson. And we still need to confirm the other. Maybe we'll have one. No, we'll have a few tutors. So as you can tell, things are up in the air with how that's going to drop onto the ground. But I know that there's a good pool of stone carvers that will come to the fore. Plus, one of the trustees has taught Oamaru stone, which is what all of the tamariki rangatahi programs are based on, is Oamaru stone carving. Yeah. What else should I say?
You've asked for $900.
Yep.
And in your document, I didn't see how you were going to pay for the stone or transport it because it's heavy and there was no allowance for tools. I just wondered how you're funding those other aspects of the event.
Yeah. We did a tool stock take. So this is the 7th event. So school programs have run in the past. There's plenty of tools. Oamaru stone, we have a quote from Parkside Quarries, Oamaru, for $9.31, which is cut up Oamaru stone and the freight. So the trustees and a few others are working on sponsorship at the moment. But if there's a spare $931 in the coffers of this space, please tell me which form to fill out, considering the event is in early November. Yeah. I know that it's important for rangatahi and tamariki to have these experiences, and I've no doubt that we will be able to source the stone. Yeah. We also have a group of, say, 7 stone carvers, so that would be a base level connection to try and source if we aren't able to come up with the money. Yeah, but I've no doubt we will get there.
Understood. Now, questions from anybody? Anybody wish to ask Pip any questions? Jennifer, you look like you're just about to hit your microphone.
Wrong one. Okay, got it. Thank you, Pip. That's a wonderful application. Very inspiring.
Cool.
Love to see it happen.
Yes.
And I wish you'd apply for more money.
Next time, perhaps. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was minimal, but we are funded by Creative New Zealand. Yeah, which relates to all of the artist support. Yeah, and we're funded by Mackenzie Trust as well. So obviously, I'm employed. Yeah.
Okay.
Pip, can I ask an ignorant question? Did Māori carve Oamaru stone back in history? I mean, we've seen plenty of their carvings in wood, but I have not seen a lot of Māori carving in Oamaru stone.
Yeah. I imagine that they did. We're pretty curious people when you're an artist, you know, if you can see something that you feel can be shaped.
Yep.
But I would say it is probably more something that could be queried by the iwi who live around that space.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is the carvings further inland in Waitaki area would have been
excellent. Yeah. I would say whatever your resources are is what you would
What you
utilise.
use.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Pip? Thank you for coming in, okay, and talking to us.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Bye for now. It's remarkably soft. You can carve it with hand tools, woodworking tools. Even though it's a stone, it's actually a compressed shell. It's limestone. It's weird. it's really hard compared to. It's really hard. Yeah. 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 I've done a couple of limestone carvings. It, from what I used to refer to as my naive period, which lived up to its name. Next is Florence McNeil. Florence, you here with us?
Kia ora tātou, Florence McNeil from the Kapiti Youth Orchestra. All right, so we have an annual concert this weekend, which you're all invited to at the Raumati Memorial Hall, which is the bookmark at the end of our rehearsal year, and it's where our kids get to, I guess they get the rewards for all their hard work and they get to show off what they've been practicing. But today's application is for the bookmark that starts our year, which is our annual music camp in the first term each year. And this is a really, really important event for us because it's where our kids get to know each other and they become an orchestra. So they come in as all these individual musicians and then they come together as a group. And that social aspect that develops there is really powerful, and it's where we, if I could perhaps say that our members are very diverse. They come from well, probably not every school every year, but they come from all schools across the district, and they are from primary school through to college. So I don't know of another group that has got such a wide range of ages and areas that participate. We have the older students, particular musicians, particularly at our camp, that really kind of foster they guide the younger ones, and they always buddy up when they sit next to each other, and you know the older ones have that more sort of leadership role, and the younger ones are absolutely terrified and sit there kind of quivering, and then through the year you see that develop, and by the end of the year they've got the confidence to perform, which is, in terms of personal development and confidence, it's really second to none for their, for what this brings to our children. And I would also say that Kapiti Youth Orchestra really it offers an activity for a lot of kids that might not participate perhaps in your classic sports and stuff like that. We get a lot of really shy kids. We get the kids who might be their first thing or a family, that the first point of contact, who've moved here from overseas, from maybe don't even speak very good English, or they might have all sorts of things that might hold them back from participating in other groups. We have often quite neurodiverse children, and it's a really it's an outlet for kids. For them, I would just say it's really, really important. It's more than just music, and we know that music gets used therapeutically as well. So this first event of the year for us is where we kind of make everyone feel welcome, make everyone get to know each other. We have excellent tutoring they break into their sections, the different instruments, and then they get worked through in kind of workshop style with professional musicians, so they really get a sense of pride, and they get to look up to these fantastic, professional musicians, which is like, I don't know, it's like being a little ripper meeting an All Black, it's pretty exciting. And so, that's what we're doing, and we've done it long enough now to see the value and see the kids that actually go through to university and play music, and really this is that one thing that they've got in Kapiti that really offers them those opportunities, and yeah.
Great. Well, thanks, Amanda. We know you. You've applied before. We're familiar with the idea of the concept of the camp. I see too that I guess in a moment you'll be talking to us about the other application.
Excuse me, I'm Florence.
Yeah.
This is Amanda's down
That's
the end
Amanda,
here.
you're Florence.
She's involved.
Right.
Yeah, she wears a couple of hats in the district. Yeah.
Right. So you both work on both, do you? No, you work on the Kapiti Music Centre.
Yes.
Right, okay, sorry, just to get that clear.
No, that's all right. So I'm the chair of our Kapiti Youth Orchestra
Yep.
Charitable Trust,
Right.
and Amanda is our orchestra manager.
Right.
Which I would say is, I don't even know how many hours per year, and it's all voluntary.
Okay.
We do pay our conductor,
Yep.
which, you know, we do struggle to kind of meet that each year. The whole COVID and cancellation of our concerts and our fundraising opportunities and a number of grants and opportunities were all kind of on ice for a couple of years for us. And we are still kind of finding our way back from that place. Yeah, so it's been rough,
Yes,
which
it
is
has.
a really important point to add as well for
No,
us.
I
Yeah.
certainly understand that. Questions for Florence? Anybody? Michelle?
I have to. I applaud what you do.
Kia
I
ora.
really do.
Thank you.
Yeah, my first experience as an orchestra member, I was 16 years old and I'd take the train from Stokes Valley to Wellington, and I was a useless flute player back then, but boy did I learn a lot from being in the youth orchestra, so I applaud it. I do question I think what you do is fantastic. Have you ever stepped away from such a funding body as this to get some sort of, I hate the word, but it's a good word, corporate sponsorship? Because what you do is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. I will say that we are in the, and I'd be careful what I'm saying, don't want to be premature,
No.
but we're in the process of working with Nico Foundation, who, by the way, have no funds available to us in Kapiti. I think anything that they do, I'm assuming everyone's across what the Nico Foundation does, a philanthropic organisation.
I'm sorry, I'm ignorant. I don't know.
Okay, so they are the Wellington region's, they are a community trust that basically philanthropists and people might set up a fund for a purpose. So it might be cancer or something for children or elderly support or a sporting organisation. You know, whatever the cause is that whoever's got the money wants to support, that's where it goes
So
to.
you're actually in discussion to
So
potentially...
there is a local Kapiti,
Right.
I'm just learning this
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
by the way, in the last very recent time. There is a local board in Kapiti that operates that, and I think they have them in different parts of the district, and I think they have funds that they manage within Kapiti. None of that is available to us at this time. I don't know whether that changes from year to year. They don't have any this year for us. But we are in conversation with them about how we might get to something that we can set up a longer term, you know, which will be a long arc thing that we can become more sustainable financially.
I mean, my sort of scrimping and saving brain goes, why don't some of you, I don't know, knock on the doors of Mitre 10, you've got pipes, that's woodwind, you've got wood, that's the strings and things, and go to Mitre 10 Kapiti Youth Orchestra.
You know.
I know it's a silly thing, but it's not that silly.
Yeah, Mitre 10, a bit like the warehouse and Pick and Save, they will let you use their barbecue, and you might get some free bread and sausages somewhere or something, but you might make a few $100s when you're looking for thousands. And it's good to have that public face and good for our kids to make that effort and our families, but it doesn't really come close to what we need. And for the amount of work, it's challenging, but we are looking as wide as we possibly can, I can assure you.
Thank you, I believe you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Florence? I mean, I think what you're doing is fantastic. If we didn't have youth orchestras, we wouldn't have an NZSO.
That's right.
Yes.
This is about starting at the beginning, and there's nothing more powerful than giving a small child a truly impactful arts experience. So thank you, Florence, for coming in.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more.
Could I quickly just ask one question
Tama.
before you go?
Yep.
Sorry. I promise this isn't a trick question. We've been trying to ask everyone this question, even though it is quite awful. But I just wanted to know, if we weren't to fully fund the camp, how would that work? Would you find ways to make it cheaper? And if so, how would you do that?
Okay, so we are certainly not asking for the full amount of the camp.
Okay.
It's the accommodation portion, really. That's yeah. Each child already pays $95 towards the camp. we would, I don't have a straightforward answer to that. We somehow cobble it together. We have not got to the end of every year and broken even, and we've relied on people donating what we might have otherwise paid for. And so that is a very real risk to us. With regards to whether families can afford it, we also offer pretty much a no questions asked full hardship scholarship, which includes extra costs, not just member fees, but camp fees or something like that. And when I say no questions, we believe that families who come to us and ask for that, that's already a hard enough hurdle, and we say, yep, that's okay. And I don't think we've ever had anyone do it more than once in a row, and it doesn't happen every year, and if it does, it's one family. So we certainly don't think that's being taken advantage of, but we don't want to have our doors closed to anybody for those reasons to not come to us. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kia ora.
Thank you, Florence. Now, the real Amanda Kemp. Join us. The Kapiti Music Centre.
That's the one. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Kapiti Music Centre. I'm Amanda Kemp. I'm the manager of the centre, as well as the Kapiti Youth Orchestra. And I'm here to talk about our event that's booked in for the 25th of November at Te Reo Kura. So this is our open day that we've been putting on successfully for the last 3 years. And it's put on for the public and for the parents and the family of the students who will be performing on the day. So currently we have over 16 different instruments on offer at KMC. We've got 9 tutors and roughly about 200 students at the moment, ranging in age from 5 right through to adults. And on average, the lessons cost $8 each per lesson, which is very affordable. And so the way it works is there is a schedule for the day, and each tutor will come in and perform like a demonstration or a concert for about 30 minutes. So that's open to the public. It's also really good for our existing students who might wish to change instruments, and so it's a chance to come along and see what they could potentially do the following year. It's a free event for the community. Last year we put out a koha tin and managed to get a couple of $100, so we'll certainly do that again this year. I've arranged for the Board of Trustees to come and spend the day with us to field any questions that people might have, and obviously the tutors on the day will be available to answer any questions that the public might have about the Kapiti Music Centre. I will also get our ensemble group to perform in the foyer, and the kiosk will be open. So we're wanting to just create a nice day of entertainment, and if people want to grab a coffee or something to eat, that's also available. Te Reo Kura, they will advertise it for us in their big electronic billboards that they have in the auditorium. They've also got a massive one outside on Raumati Road. They also advertise it in the local papers, the Facebook page. We will put it in our Facebook page and Instagram page too. But yeah, just to wrap it up, we're sort of finding our feet again. We lost a few students because of the mandates. So we're building up the numbers again. But we feel it's important just to let the community know of these incredible affordable lessons that are available in Kapiti. So these open days, they help tremendously to get the word out. Especially, it gives them a tangible idea of what we're all about, really.
Fantastic. Questions for Amanda? I think you're a treasure, Amanda. I think what you do, we are damn lucky in this region, in this district, to have you in your organisation. I mean, you're looking at your application, 60 lessons a week, 16 instruments, 200 students. I don't know if your sort of organisation is everywhere in New Zealand, but I doubt it. I think we're quite lucky. And I think the concept of the open day is absolutely fantastic.
Lovely.
Really, that's my personal view. But any questions from any of the committee on anything Amanda has to say at all? Michelle?
What are your 16 instruments?
Gosh, all
What's
right.
it? Right. In
Yeah.
alphabetical order, please.
We have intro to music, so that's where the little kids come in.
Recorders?
Yep, recorders. I personally teach the guitar, the bass guitar, singing, the KMC band, ukulele, and then we've got all the classic instruments, the violins, the cellos, flute, yeah, saxophone, clarinet, keyboard. I'm bound to have forgotten something.
Percussion?
Yes, oh my God, drums, percussion, yes, yeah, and they're amazing
Brass?
tutors.
Any brass?
No brass at this stage. We're in the hunt for a trumpet tutor. But yeah, we're fortunate that we can, we get to use Te Reo Kora as our rehearsal space, because we're also through the Ministry of Education, so they have to provide a host school, and we're lucky to have Kapiti College. And they're amazing, aren't they, Tama? They're just Te Reo Kora. We're very lucky, very lucky.
Yeah.
This is a really sad question. If you couldn't get all the money, how will you continue with this incentive that you're...
Oh, if we couldn't get the money?
Yeah.
We do have some money put aside in term deposits. We would break the term deposit to get it done. Te Reo Kora give us a charitable trust discount. We would still let it go ahead. Yeah.
I think what you're doing is wonderful.
No, thank you. Yeah, and just as I say, it's affordable lessons. We just want to get the word out there for these families. You know, financial hardship at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so this open day would
The
be
arts
fantastic.
take the back seat at this time.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Unfortunately. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Amanda,
thank you
for
very
coming
much.
in and
Thank
speaking
you.
to us. Debbie Donnelly, are you there? You are. Thank you for waiting patiently. Okay, yeah, I'm stepping up for that one. You're going to tell us about Japan.
I'll show you instead. How's that?
Now these muffins. Oh.
These are quick muffins on when you get them.
Okay.
I think it's all the same.
I wasn't sure how many people would be here, so I'm sorry if I missed.
Under the rules, we're not allowed to accept gifts unless it's cash or alcohol.
Yes, I have been to Japan. Kia ora. Kia ora tātou. Morena. Right, so my name's Deb Donnelly. I come from Kapiti. I frequently apply to go to Japan. I'm half Japanese. My mother was an immigrant to New Zealand in the 1950s. And I guess I've built my practice trying to build that bridge between the two cultures that I occupy. And for my sins, I trained as a teacher. So I'm able to see, hopefully, what works for people in an accessible way. So my kaupapa is really to reach people through slow stitch, which is sometimes called joyful mending. Some people may know that better. It's also traditionally known as sashiko and boro, which is a long tradition in Japan as basically thrift or sustainability. All of these processes, which many tourists have, I shouldn't say flocked to, but have gathered around and have now made a global ripple, I guess. So you can have your mending done in London, sashiko style or boro style, and pay quite a lot. I have done quite a few exhibitions, presentations overseas. I have very rarely done anything in Kapiti, which I want to put right. Pre-COVID, I booked the Roderick and Gillian Dean art space for perhaps a completely different exhibition at the time. And of course, it never came to be. And then finally, after it had been backdated, I realised September sounded like a great time to celebrate spring, which of course happens all over the world, and I'm really looking forward to it. And it means coming out of hibernation and all my slow stitching. So I thought, what better opportunity than to bring the community in and share some of that sparking joy with stitching. And I have to tell you, after 3 months of stitching, I'm now an addict. So I think I should share that. So what this is about, what I'm here today for, is to basically seek support to run community workshops in the meeting space behind the gallery so that people can get an idea of the context, hopefully give people some information, maybe inspire different end users. It touches people in different ways. I've had lots of interest at the Japan Festival last year. We ran free workshops, we were lucky to, and we were inundated, and people came from all over the place, which has made me realise, well, why not do something in Kapiti? So from that, I have been able to piece together, I guess, a little bit of a budget. I apologise for not putting as much detail in as I could have to begin with. But having visited all the suppliers, particularly local suppliers like Fibre Flare and the sushi outlets as well, anywhere that people celebrate, our cultural mix. So that's what I'm talking about, cultural diversity in Kapiti. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Now, questions for Debbie? Anybody?
Hi, Debbie.
Hi.
Just a wonderful application, thank you.
Thank you.
It's really, really wonderful to see other ethnic groups being supported in this area, and I applaud you for applying. And it's great just to see the handcrafts coming through. So well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. If you weren't able to get all the money or part of the money, how will you continue?
Okay, so because the show opens next week, and I wasn't sure what the outcome today, I basically needed to start my run-up. And so I used my database from last year just to see if there would be any interest, if people would want to come. Yes. So I guess that answers that. That means I would only run one workshop, because I'm off to Japan again on the 26th of September to complete my New Zealand-Japan exchange program commitments. If I did get the funding, then I would happily put everything into motion and get 2 or 3 more workshops up to speed in that time. And I think it's possible because I've met all the suppliers. As it happens, whether this is a good or a bad thing. There is a huge quilt show happening at Southwood Museum on the 16th and 17th, which is exactly the same day as my first workshop. And at first I thought, oh no, is that a good thing? In actual fact, it's bringing more of the same-minded people into Kapiti, and I wouldn't hesitate if I got this grant to turn around and put my effort into making sure that it was promoted there as well.
Good, okay.
Yeah,
Thank
so it made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Debbie, you're hoping to attract 600 audience in your application. Can you talk a little about that?
Thank you, yes. Just to clarify on that point, well, it's a couple of ways actually, but one is the actual exhibition. So I have been monitoring all the exhibitions that have gone through the art space to see how many would turn up per day, and had a chat about, you know, what draws people in. So it would, whatever it necessitates in terms of, I say on track, but a film or a video or something that relates to the actual practices so that people can see that something's happening there. So in other words, creating a buzz, but that is actually for the exhibition, which in itself I found last time I ran an exhibition, I got a lot of inquiries for workshops, but without anything formalised, and COVID and all the rest of it, it was a little bit harder.
Do men practice this?
Yes.
We do.
Yes, you do.
See, told you.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Good. I guess I'm pleased to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it's refreshing.
You can hold a needle.
Yeah. It's. I won't discuss my history with needles.
Okay.
It's refreshing to have someone like you come along and unpack something that I'm sure we haven't even thought about. Yes, it's the other country, your country of partial origin. It's just a whole other look at something. So you're a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
If I may describe that. And thank you for coming. Any more questions for Debbie? Michelle.
Just me here. This I don't understand. Did you sew that?
Okay, so everything you've seen is recycled from a huge, I should have said that, a huge kimono collection, which a friend of my mother's has been storing away for 50 years. And I was at a funeral and she offered them to me. And I thought, what am I going to do with 5,000 kimono? Yes. Her addiction is not my addiction because I'd like to get to my studio table sometimes. So what you're seeing is basically, and this is included, so everything that is used in this workshop is recyclable.
Brilliant.
Recycled, yeah. Okay, yes.
Thank you.
There are quite a few techniques in textiles. Sashiko is just one of them. And so what you're seeing there is kasuri, and on the back is indigo, vintage indigo, dyed from Japan. So hence bringing it together. Yeah.
Debbie, thank you. Anybody else? All right, thank you for coming in. And we'll pass back your
Domo arigato.
examples. Can we pass that along the line to Debbie? Right, now our next applicant, Nigel, is Amy, and I've declared an interest, so I'm going to step out. If you wouldn't mind taking the chair. You're welcome to sit here or wherever you are. And Amy? Well, I'm leaving. The
Oh,
room.
you're leaving leaving the.
Don't forget me, will you? Okay.
Yeah, Amy's online, is she?
She is.
Okay.
Kia ora. Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, kia ora.
Yep. The floor is yours.
Okay. I did actually. Oh, okay. You've disabled screen sharing. Okay, that's cool.
I had prepared something for you guys, but that's all right. I will just do it without the.
But we can see you.
Oh yes, sorry. I'd prepared like a PowerPoint presentation, but it's saying that I can't share the screen.
Yeah, you should be able to do that now.
Oh, okay. I'm trying not to make it take ages. Meeting. Oh, sorry. You guys have had a busy morning.
Mm-hmm.
So, share screen. There we go.
Cool.
Need to put it into the presentation actual view. Can't see the button right now. Only things happening. Aha, kia ora. Yeah, so ngā mihi nui kia koutou, I tēnei rā, I just thought I would start with a karakia, manawa mai ai tēnei ahuone, tēnei te mauri o Papatua Nuku, o tūpari maunga, o parawhenua mea, o hene hukurangi, e whakapiri mai nei e kōkiri. So I'm just going to briefly go through some slides that I prepared about this project, and it shouldn't take too long. So Uku Waiti is, I guess, what I've named it, and it's looking to target working with rangatahi. So particularly age 8 to 13 as a pilot project, looking into the connection with Uku, which is clay, and Waiti, fresh water, as an educational and wellbeing project. So e tū waitie, he wai whakata, he wai Māori, he wai oranga e. So our connection through Māori whakapapa, rangi nui, Papatua Nuku, and often we can find this clay in our riverbanks and in our river spaces, but it's also about creating that connection and that awareness to our natural environment around us, and how that is a healing tool also. So the technical bits of it, so looking at working with 8 rangatahi aged 8 to 13 of age, aiming at rangatahi Māori as priority but not limited to that. Who will it be done by? A facilitator and an expert, a uku expert, so that's clay is uku. And so the idea is that what they create can be showcased and presented in the Kapiti Arts Trail in November, and potentially in some art galleries, yet to see. Yeah, so it's a pilot program with the opportunity for others in the future. Wellbeing, rangatahi and hapori community connection is the focus. The uku, the clay expert, Alex Wong, so no ngā puhi ea, Ngāti Rāhiri. He's a Reo Māori student as well as a qualified social worker and a creative. And he creates and sells uku currently, and lives in Otaki. And how the format of it will work is 2.5 hours per week over the next 3 months. So the format of each workshop kind of starts as an introduction, familiarization with the stories, and then connections. And then the following workshops will have slightly different focuses. So the second one, for example, would be musical instruments, ukutangi. The third workshop, pinch pot clay, so that's a different technique, and glazing. And workshop 4 would be looking at wheel, as in spinning wheel, and that technology. And workshop 5 will be looking into how presentation works, and the final touches for getting it ready for presentation. And then the workshop 6 will also finalise those aspects. And the course materials, clay tools, clay, glazing, and hireage of spinning wheel and venue. Yeah, costs, venue hire, the clay expert and the facilitator, and then the materials, and that comes to 4,500. And then that was my the majority of my presentation. So over to you guys for pātai. But ngā mihi nui kia Kia koutou, kia KCDC and Creative Communities Grant. Myself, I am a trustee of Ahu Charitable Trust, Ki Pukirua, which was established in 2017. Waiho i te toi poto, kaua i te toi roa, looking at creating connected communities. Most of the mahi and the projects and the events that we've done have been in the Pukirua Bay and Porirua region. So this is the first one that we are doing in the Kapiti Otaki region. I live in the Otaki region now, and the other people in the Charitable Trust, when we created it, they live in Pukirua Bay. So we're looking at connecting the two places and the two kaupapa and creatives. And this is our charitable trust, can't remember the word for it, but our mandate maybe, to advance education by providing opportunities specifically to promote, share and learn Māori mātauranga, and some examples, including but not limited to, is kai, raranga, whakairo, te reo, tikanga, whanaungatanga, whānau iwi hapu and other history. So tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora. Thanks for that, Amy. I'll just ask if anybody has any questions for you.
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
Tēnā koe. Firstly, I just want to give a mihi to your kaupapa. As a rangatahi Māori, I know how beautiful and just exciting it is to be able to make toi with uku and just resources from the whenua. So yeah, I just want to say kia ora for that. But I was just wondering specifically, when you put the pieces of art that they make on display for the Kapiti Arts Trail, are those pieces being sold? And if so, where does that money go, or is it just like a display piece?
So there was some costs that I'd applied for, but also there were some costs that were over and above. So the idea is that they would sell some pieces and that there would be a money that comes back. So that could go into, as I said, it's a pilot project. So that could go into future workshops because, like running only this many, I'm sure there's going to be, I'm hoping that it's going to be something that we want to progress. And also, like I said, about the two communities, with the Otaki community and the Pukirua Bay community, connecting that, having like a one-off wānanga with people to bring that mātauranga together. And so that was where the potential remuneration, selling could help boost funding gaps.
Cool. Kia ora.
Cool, thank you. Yep, Michelle.
Hi there, congratulations, just sounds fantastic. The only question I do have is, actually, I'm being pedantic here, how long is each workshop?
2.5 hours.
Got it. Good answer. Thank you.
Cool.
What have you been to one? You have a specific.
Yeah. Okay, look,
thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Amy. We appreciate you. And you, Kim, sorry. Kim looks like she might have a question for you.
Yeah, kia ora, Amy. Awesome. I'm just out of curiosity, where are you going to run them?
I'm looking at talking to Māori Land. I'm not sure if they're keen, but there's lots of things going on there at the moment. Also, just at a private studio. Yeah.
Because it's I'm pretty sure there's a pottery club down the racing club.
Yeah. Going between them, like maybe not all of them at the pottery, but maybe when the spinning wheel one is there.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, cool, awesome, kaupapa. That's all my questions.
Excellent. I think. Oh, yep. Sorry.
So when you talk about the workshop on wheels, are you considering approaching the Pottery Club?
Yes. Rod Graham is someone. So every year at the Kapiti Arts Trail, we've participated where Rod Graham has a spot at somebody's house where there's a guy who does clay house building, and also Rod Graham, who's part of the Pottery Club, and he brings it, and lots of tamariki turn up there, and they have a go at the spinning wheel, and
Okay.
it's kind of. Oh yeah, sorry.
So
What was
there's
the
no,
price?
so there's no hireage fee with that property.
No, this was actually on the Kapiti Arts Trail day, so that's the display part end of the
Right.
project.
Okay. So you're
But the spinning wheel hire depends on where it is. You can hire a spinning wheel to a venue, or you can go to the Pottery Club and.
so where are you hiring the wheels from?
There I'm hoping, but I haven't booked that because I was waiting for this to be this funding application, and then I was going to go out and finalize all those details.
So there, as in the pottery
Oh,
club,
to the Pottery Club, to anybody I know that might have a spinning wheel,
right?
private potters.
Okay. I'm just curious too because clay has never really been part of the Maori history, as in making work from. So it's a new movement, and you're bringing it into your vision for the future. Is that correct?
I'm not sure what you're basing your.
So traditionally, we don't see a lot of clay works coming from Māori in the past. So it's more of a future, a current
I
trend.
think it's more what I'm thinking. The perspective I'm thinking from is the connection to the whenua, the earth, and the clay that comes from the earth, and that the first woman, it was formed from hine ahuonu, formed from clay in Māori pūrākau, Māori creation stories.
Yes.
So it's about connecting to that aspect.
Cool.
And what you can create out of it is a creative
as a medium.
It's a creative medium, and it's a connection to your whakapapa, and yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just thought I'd question you on that because there's a lot coming through currently in the ceramics scene, and it's important that people understand the past and the connections that you are linking through to the future clay workers that are becoming very, very strong in our community. And it's a wonderful application what you've put through, and I applaud you for that. And the connections, the Otaki Pottery Club is very, very strong in our community, and they can help you hugely. Okay, so
sorry, who am I speaking with? It's hard to tell.
Jennifer Turnbull.
Oh, kia ora, Jennifer. Are you on that side in the
I'm
white?
I'm a potter.
Oh, kia ora.
So yeah, it's really wonderful to see the likes of your group coming through with the energy that you've got in it, and it's hopefully we can support you. How will you continue forward if you don't get your full application of money?
Maybe just a scaled down version, one-off.
One-off, okay.
Taster.
Thank you. Thank you for your application.
Kia ora. Thanks very much, Amy. We will be in touch, and all the best.
Okay, ngā mihi nui.
Yes.
We've met you before, Chris.
Yes, you've met me on numerous occasions for over the last decade, in fact. So I'm here on behalf of Music Festivals and Events New Zealand. We're a registered charitable trust now, and we grew out of the Kapiti Music Festival, which we've got a performer from the past, present in front of me now. So we've run that for the last 15 years, and it was out of advice from you sitting here at Creative Communities Kapiti that we became a registered community trust. Also advice from you that we now have a koha bucket at every event that we run now as well. So traditionally, over the last 15 years, we've run May Music Month here in Kapiti, and we've expanded that into running events as a summer music festival, and you've supported those in the past. Traditionally, this group has supported our Jazz in the Park in May, and has also supported McLean Park, our summer festival. This year we thought we'd introduce a Spring Fest into the mix, and we're looking for support if you could possibly assist us with running an event at McLean Park on, it is Saturday the 30th of September, and that would be one day as part of the Springfest. We've already got funding from another source to run an event the next day in Marine Gardens, which is a mixed genre event, and that's already occurred. And also 3 weeks after that, we've put in a funding application to run an event in Otaki in the Memorial Gardens there next to the Civic Theatre, but we won't hear whether that'll be successful for another fortnight. So we've come to you with our youth performers aspect again for McLean Park, and it's a free event open to all of the community with a particular emphasis on youth performing, and yes, that's what we've come and asked that you could support this live performance in the community.
Thank you very much. Questions for Chris? Anybody?
Yeah, kia ora.
Hammer.
I think mine is just either a misreading thing or an ignorance thing. But I read over your application a few times, and you mentioned the Springfest being like multiple events happening in different locations, and then you also referenced the specific rangatahi one. And I was just wondering, are you applying for money from us for specifically the rangatahi event, or is it the wider Spring Festival, or have I misunderstood the idea that they might be two separate things?
Yeah, no, the entire Springfest is a number of events. We're only asking for funding for this one particular event,
Great,
one
okay.
event on the Saturday. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Chris, the $100 you're going to earn off the crowd, and you're anticipating 500 people coming, are we that miserable? Do we only give 20 cents a head? I mean,
Interesting enough, yes, it is, and you asked me the same question the last time I was here. Yes, it is. It's very mixed, and within our 500, there people the whole 500 don't come and stay for the entire day. People come and go, and that sort of thing. So,
so
unfortunately,
your buckets
yes.
come and go. I mean, I'm pushing this because I think what you do is wonderful, and I'm just disappointed we're a bit miserable in terms of the public paying for it. Do you give a message from the stage? Do you explain to people that donations would be of great help to us?
Yeah, I'm normally the compere on the day and between artists, but again, it's a koha, it's a gift, so therefore you can't say, come and put it in the bucket. So, okay, yeah. So some people are generous and might drop in a note, just others will just throw in small coins. So it's a mix. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I know it was my question last year, but your number didn't go up, so I thought I'd ask it again.
Okay.
I have a quick question, and it's a technical thing. On the accounts that you downloaded for us to have a look at,
yes.
When I look at your expenditure, I just see a list of all of the sources of money. I don't see what you actually spent it on. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, there's an income and there's an expenditure, so therefore each event for, say, the other trusts, Poke trusts, whatever that we go to, must match again exactly what the quotes are that we've spent it on. So therefore that's all for performers and PA. So therefore if we run an event at Marine Gardens, say the jazz one, therefore it has to match perfectly. So you'll find that each of the grants will match an expenditure for that event. Okay.
It's just that the accounts don't tell us what that expenditure is. It only tells us where the money's coming from. That's all. Does that make sense to you when I look at it? Let's not worry about it this year, but in future, may I suggest that when you list your expenditure items on your annual spend, you actually say what the money goes to, not where it comes from. You're looking as confused as I was.
Yeah, but you should have a page there of income and a page of expenditure, and the expenditure that's all on that particular event, and that would be going to performers and hire of PA.
Okay. I'll go back and have another look, Chris.
Okay.
All right. And who knows, I might have the same question next year.
Yeah. And again, as a registered trust, it's there. It's in the open forum, so you can actually go online and look at all of our. We have to give them to New Zealand's Companies Act each year. We have to file those. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Understood. Thank you. Any more questions for Chris Craddock? Anybody? You okay, Kim? You're hearing us online?
Yes.
Thank you.
Clear.
We just want you to know we don't forget you. That's all.
No.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Okay.
Much
Right. Thank you
appreciated.
very much. Okay. See you, Michelle. Yeah, I think Rita said we don't need to worry about that. Do you need to? Okay. All right. There's just a couple of little technical things that Jess is pointing out to me. Number 6 on the agenda. One is members' business, leave of absence. The other is matters of an urgent nature. Can I ask you if there are any of those two? If not, we'll move on. Right. Thank you. Just that last point I made with Chris. Narita, you can sort of support me on this, can't you? Because I discussed that with you. It did look odd on his expenditure list, didn't it? Yeah, he if you look at the downloads that come through, he actually lists all of the expenditure items in terms of where he got the money, not what he spent the money on. No.
Maybe discuss it when we come to his item in the...
Good idea. All right. Now, last time we did have a comfort stop after the applications, so that's probably a good idea now. And can I suggest we look at lunch at about 12:30? Does that sound right? So let's have a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back together and start our discussions.